I'm Travis Chase with the Friday, April 25 edition of the Hgp Nightly News. We have what you need to know this evening. We begin our broadcast by telling you that yet another policeman has been charged with murder. He has been remanded to prison. More details in this report. Police Sergeant Philbert Kendall appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court Friday morning shackled at the hand while he stood before a Georgetown magistrate charged with the murder of Lindena Ronaldo Peters. The police sergeant was not required to enter a plea to the indictable murder charge and was remanded to prison until May 9, 2025. The court heard that Kendall, who was serving as a subordinate officer at the Wismar police station, armed himself with a 9mm firearm loaded with 15 rounds before departing in an unmarked minibus. He had gone in search of Peters. Upon seeing Peters, Kendall exited the unmarked vehicle and chased Peters. The youth was eventually cornered by Kendall and shot. The injured youth was then dragged out of a yard and dumped into the minibus. Instead of immediately taking the young man to hospital, Kendall took him to the police station in Linden. The young man was then put into a police vehicle and transported to the Mackenzie Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Soon after the incident went viral, protest action erupted in the mining town of Linden. During the disturbance, another young man from the area, 32-year-old Keon Fudgene, was shot and killed by police. The investigation into the death of Keon Fudgene is still ongoing. The Guyana Police Force's Office of Professional Responsibility and the Regional Security System are conducting the investigation. The RSS is also set to present a report of its findings and recommendations sometime in April. Travis Chase, Hgp Nightly News. The 2025 budget is the largest in Guyana's history, and the former Auditor General Anal Gulsaran is deeply concerned about the government's depletion of the Natural Resource Fund and ongoing borrowing from other countries. Antonio Day reports.
I'm kind of worried that we are going overboard in terms of incurring debt, borrowing money through borrowing.
That was Anand Gulsaran, former Auditor General of Guyana. Gulsaran, in a recent interview with Nightly News, stated that with Guyana's nascent oil and gas industry, the government's habit of inking loan agreements with countries such as the United States and China can pose a serious financial deficit.
Tomorrow, oil revenues dip or something, a natural disaster stop the production of oil. We are in serious trouble to service that debt, which is like about over $5 billion US.
The former Auditor General also flagged the lack of transparency in the oil and gas industry, which he blamed the sitting government. The new production sharing agreement, PSA, has a royalty rate of 10%, up from 2% in the Scarborough PSA. The cost recovery limit decreased from 75% in the Scarborough PSA to 65% in the new contract. After cost recovery, profits will still be shared equally, with 50% going to the government and 50% to the contractor, known as ExxonMobil Guyana Limited. Additionally, a corporate tax of 10% will be introduced where there is none before. However, from a financial standpoint, Guyana is left with nothing, according to Gulsaran.
And when you convert that into dollar value against the taxes we are paying for Exxon, we are left with very little.
The Ministry of Finance has defended its borrowing plans on multiple occasions. However, Christopher Ram had criticized the government's intentions to significantly raise both domestic and external debt ceilings, as well as sharply increasing extractions from the Natural Resource Fund, known as the NRF.
I would say I would give the government a failing grade on management of the economy.
I'm Antonio Day reporting for the Hgp Nightly News.
The government is once again under fire for failing to match its promises on Indigenous rights with real action. While officials paint a picture of progress, Indigenous leaders say the reality is far different. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
Another Indigenous person is calling out the Guyanese government on the world stage. This time, it's Don Stahl, Policy Officer at the Amerindian People's Association, APA. During a presentation at the 24th session of the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, Stahl told the forum that there are persistent gaps between policy and practice in addressing the realities of Indigenous peoples, particularly women.
The increase in representation does not reflect meaningful inclusion in local governance, where our voices are still too often sidelined.
Her bold statement comes just days after Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sukai told global leaders that the state has reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to empowering Indigenous women, highlighting political inclusion, education, and economic advancement.
30 years ago, when I entered Parliament, there were few Indigenous women parliamentarians. Today, 39% of women in Parliament are Indigenous. 3 Indigenous women have led the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs.
But Stahl was quick to counter the state's glowing report. She stressed that despite state investments in healthcare infrastructure and telemedicine, Indigenous women still face enormous barriers, including language issues, weak infrastructure, and unanswered questions when they seek healthcare information.
Our hospitals still lack the basic equipment and medicines to treat our families and community.
Meanwhile, Minister Sukai told the forum that nationally funded programs are specifically aimed at empowering Indigenous women economically. She highlighted support for ventures in agriculture, ecotourism, and traditional industries, along with youth initiatives, claiming that 63% of participants in the youth entrepreneur and apprenticeship programs are Indigenous women.
The government has advanced equitable access to healthcare and education nationwide. New and upgraded healthcare infrastructure and telemedicine services are expanding across the Amerindian villages. These improvements prioritize Indigenous women's healthcare, coupled with financial aid for universal health and cancer screening.
Still, Stahl argued that even with tuition for university and vocational opportunities, Indigenous youth and women continue to face structural discrimination rooted in their culture and way of life.
Recent textbook produced by the government of Guyana has negatively portrayed and targeted the Indigenous community of Chinese Landing, which has already faced retaliatory measures from the state for asserting their land rights against an illegal miner.
She urged the government of Guyana to fully implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, UNDRIP, especially the principles of free, prior, and informed consent. Stahl criticized the state's selective use of the declaration, saying while it was adopted, the government often downplays its binding nature and limits its implementation. Tiana Cole reporting for the Hgp Nightly News.
Thank you, Tiana, for your reporting. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Keeping up with the kids' growth spurts might mean it's time for a bigger fridge. Don't worry, at Quartz, we've got you. Save up to $50,000 on select fridges. Get a free grill or mixer with select stoves and more. Need to upgrade your home? Get smart TVs from as low as $32,999. Plus, shop today and pay later. And make your first payment in 30 days with Quartz Ready Finance. Whatever you need, we've got you. Only at Quartz, bringing value home. Offer ends April 23, 2025.
Welcome to SNL Electrical Inc., where lighting and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Thomas Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover a solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc., powering your life with elegance, quality, and care.
Krishna Roth Establishment. No job is too small or too large. We specialize in all types of fabricating, machinery, excavator repairs, rice fill pumps, and hydraulic hoses. Visit us at Lot 113, Block CC Monrepo, East Coast, Demerara, or call 220-9624, 616-9416, or 619-7880. At Krishna Ralph Establishment, no job is too small or too large.
Thanks for staying tuned to the Hgp Nightly News. The office of the president was the highlight of picket action on Friday as calls mounted for top cop Clifton Hicken to resign. You'll have more details in this report. Pressure is mounting on Commissioner of Police Clifton Hicken to resign following several questionable actions by members of the Guyana Police Force under his tenure. The latest being the death of Adriana Young, whose body was recovered from a pool at the Doubleday Hotel at Tushin on the east bank of Essequibo Thursday morning. A police statement had placed the girl outside of the hotel in a red and black Rom heading towards Reading Hoop. That statement eventually proved to be a blatant lie after private security cameras revealed that the child never left the hotel. Leader of the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity movement, Simona Brooms, was on the picket line.
The president must not allow, under his watch, what is happening in this country to happen. No. Even if you appoint a commissioner, everybody must be held accountable, your minister and everybody. They must know that these things must not happen. What about preventing it from happening, man?
The political figures insist that the Guyana Police Force, under the leadership of Clifton Hicken, is facing the greatest operational challenge in a generation.
Commissioner of Police is to be held accountable and the commander of that division because this thing starts from the head. Hickens only know for sheer kite and got this function and this outreach to promote himself. He's not a politician. He's not in government. He must understand that he holds a constitutional office where he ought to protect the people of this country.
As police ranks stood guard, the politicians remain adamant that the resignation of Clifton Hicken is now inevitable since he's not prepared to show that Guyana has a police force which is prepared to accept full responsibility for its actions.
I am in agreement with those who are saying these people who are involved have to step down. The police has failed us not one time, not 2 times, not 3 times, but many times. Many times.
Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones said that since Hicken's appointment as Commissioner of Police, too many questionable police killings have been occurring.
It is always a template that every time the People's Progressive Party Civic is in office, you have heinous incidents of this nature, whether it's shooting, mass killings, and so forth.
It was former Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan who had first called for the immediate retirement and resignation of Commissioner Clifton Hicken over numerous allegations of corruption within the Guyana Police Force and Hicken's surpassing of the retirement age. Travis Chase, Hgp Nightly News. Meanwhile, the opposition has called on the Guyana government to invite an international body to investigate the murder of 11-year-old Adriana Young after her body was gruesomely discovered on Thursday in the pool of the Doubleday Hotel located at Tushin on the east bank of Essequibo. Daisy Richards is on this story.
Speaking during the office of the opposition's weekly press conference, Leader of the opposition Aubrey Norton indicated that the Guyana Police Force, time and time again, have failed to protect the children and citizens of the country following the gruesome death of 11-year-old Adriana Young. Calling the Guyana Police Force corrupt, Norton alleged that there was an attempt to cover up the child's death.
The Guyana Police Force is clearly complicit in the attempted cover-up of this crime and cannot be trusted or allowed to investigate.
He recalled a false statement made by the police force in an attempt to remove the family and residents from the vicinity of the Doubleday Hotel in Tushin on the east bank of Essequibo. He also highlighted that false promises made by the incumbent administration will result in the loss of confidence in Guyana's justice system.
The president must therefore fire the commissioner of police and invite the FBI or some other reputable international law enforcement body to investigate this heinous crime.
With the government inviting a pathologist to conduct the autopsy on the body of the 11-year-old Young, Norton voiced his concerns.
is unacceptable and must not be accepted by all fair-minded Guyanese. The pathologist should be one that the family and community are comfortable with, and one who is independent of the government and the Guyana Police Force.
In addition, the opposition leader called for the removal of Commissioner of Police Clifton Hicken. Adriana Young went missing on the 23rd of April, and her body was discovered on the 24th in the pool of the Doubleday Hotel. The discovery came after her family searched the pool thoroughly on the night prior to the body being found. For Hgp Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
Still with the police, you will hear now that with public trust in the police hanging by a thread, Linden Mayor Sharma Solomon says the recent fatal shootings of 2 men have exposed a system in crisis, and he's calling out the Guyana Police Force for its missteps and misinformation. Tiana Cole has the story.
Linden Mayor Sharma Solomon, speaking on Friday, gave an update on the investigations into the police killings of 21-year-old Ronaldo Peters and 32-year-old Keon Fajne. Solomon said the events of the past few weeks have brought one issue to the forefront of national discourse: justice.
Even though concerns were expressed by the families and several others about the capacity and ability of the Guyana Police Force and their ability to investigate, I think we are now at the point where people are very, very cautious to see what sort of justice comes out of these matters.
The mayor said a troubling pattern is emerging. Policing remains at the center of recent killings, and public trust is eroding. He questioned how anyone is expected to feel safe or believe in a system that lacks accountability.
How do we ensure that persons must be held accountable for killing people, for breaking the law, and for ensuring that those young people who lost their lives are given the justice they deserve?
Solomon also took aim at the GPF for releasing contradictory statements about the incidents. He said these misrepresentations have only deepened public outrage and mistrust.
Both statements contradicted the facts and the evidence, one, and both statements had to be corrected, two. And both statements agitated and angered the public.
Earlier this week, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Annie Nandlal disclosed that the Office of Professional Responsibility, OPR, and the Regional Security System, RSS, had completed their investigation into the killing of Ronaldo Peters. That file has now been submitted to the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, for advice. However, investigations into Keon Fajne's death are ongoing, with additional witnesses still being interviewed. The unrest began on April 8 when 21-year-old Peters was fatally shot by a member of the force. His death sparked immediate protest in the mining town, which quickly escalated into chaos. During the disturbance, 32-year-old Keon Fajne, also known as Dan, a father of 4, was also killed. Tiana Cole reporting for the Hgp Nightly News.
Thank you, Tiana. Stay with us. We have more news ahead.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanup, or construction project. It's simple. Step 1, give us a call. Step 2, we put down the bin. Step 3, load it up with all of your junk. Step 4, we take it away. That's simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there is no job that is too big or too small. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. If you have moved to a new address since you were registered, you are required to update your address by applying for a transfer to ensure your registration details are accurate. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to apply for a transfer. You can apply to have your address updated during this national registration exercise. You can visit the GCOM registration offices Monday to Thursday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 16 hours 30, and Friday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
This Mother's Day, shower mom with love. Buy the Samsung A05 for just $19,500, the Samsung A15 for only $29,500, or the Samsung A25 5G for $43,000. That's not all. Each purchase comes with a complimentary 30-day mega data plan, ensuring mom stays connected. Hurry to a Digicel store near you today. Terms and conditions apply. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Keeping up with the kids' growth spurts might mean it's time for a bigger fridge. Don't worry, at Quartz, we've got you. Save up to $50,000 on select fridges. Get a free grill or mixer with select stoves and more. Need to upgrade your home? Get smart TVs from as low as $32,999. Plus, shop today and pay later. And make your first payment in 30 days with Quartz Ready Finance. Whatever you need, we've got you. Only at Quartz, bringing value home. Offer ends April 23, 2025.
Thanks for staying tuned here to the Hgp Nightly News. Daisy Richards will tell you now that the Alliance for Change has called for swift action in regards to domestic violence following the death of a mother and her two daughters on Wednesday after persistent domestic challenges.
Beverly Alert, member of the Alliance for Change, on Friday during the party's press conference, called for swift action in cases of domestic violence following the deaths of Waverly LaCruz, Malene LaCruz, and Suan LaCruz. All three women were killed by Malene's late husband, a serial abuser, who shot them last Wednesday evening.
This heinous act, which has left families and communities in mourning, is a stark reminder of the urgent need for collective action to address gender-based violence.
She highlighted that such perpetrators must be held accountable for their actions, while the victims should receive the support they need. Alert pointed out that the Guyana police force needs to be strengthened in order to combat domestic violence.
Immediate and thorough investigations into all cases of domestic violence with swift prosecution of offenders.
She added that there is need for more shelters, counseling, and legal aid services for domestic violence survivors, especially in rural areas.
Grassroots education campaigns to challenge harmful gender norms, promote healthy relationships, and encourage reporting of abuse.
The AFC member also called for a continued review of domestic violence laws in order to enforce stricter penalties on perpetrators. Malene LaCruz, her mother, sister, and brother, was shot by her reputed husband, Parmanand Ramdial, who subsequently drank a poisonous substance after his heinous act. Malene, her mother, and sister all died from their wounds, while her brother remains in the hospital in a critical condition and receiving treatment for his injuries. Prior to the murder, Malene took to her Facebook page addressing the years of abuse she faced at the hands of her husband. For Hgp Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
Antonio Day now tells us that the veteran politician has called on all Guyanese, irrespective of race, religion, and creed, to confront the acts of victimization and brutalization under the current regime.
Veteran politician UC Guyana, during an exclusive interview with Nightly News, reflected on the excellent political climate in Guyana and is confident that the youths can make a difference.
And it doesn't depend on other people, it depends on us. Whoever is a citizen must be prepared to work, to throw in your lot, to think, to give your voice. Or don't complain when the gate is closed.
The centenarian expressed that if Guyana is indeed a democracy, citizens must not suppress their voices.
I guess that is what is meant by the voice of the people, is the voice of God.
Guyana, once known as Sydney King, expressed that those who are taciturn on matters of injustice will allow their silence to perpetuate.
So if you suppress your voice, you're doing a big thing. It's the voice of it's the general will of the community, and everyone will suffer.
Guyana made it clear that the youths must demonstrate to themselves that they are the custodians of justice and accountability, but Guyana will not hesitate to render his support towards national unity. The seasoned politician said that age will not be a deterrent for him as he's eager to highlight matters affecting Afro-Guyanese as well as civil society.
To go to that forum, the High Court, with complaints against abuse of power, I will do it. But I'm not too blind as not to understand the legal rules that should be normal.
The former Akia leader, who is unapologetic about his ancestry and is an ardent advocate of African rights, along with others, including Tukumo Gunse, Ngozi Moses, Sis Omo, and Sybil Sargent, founded the African Society for Cultural Relations with Independent Africa in 1964. He was also a member of the People's Progressive Party and eventually joined forces with the Working People's Alliance. I'm Antonio Day reporting for the Hgp Nightly News.
Your regional news is up next.
Turbo with a new look, new style, with the same great taste in the 250ml can. Everybody run out now. Go and go grab one. Me charge up with a turbo 250ml at your favorite spot. Wait, sell. New look, new can, same vibes. Jinxing, energize up your life. Vibes up, work time, anytime we are turn up the party with turbo can. Turbo can, turbo can, turbo can. Now available in the new 250ml can. Turbo energy drink. Charge up today.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to apply for registration? You are required to visit the GCOM registration office that is responsible for the registration of persons in your area of residence to apply for registration. Office hours, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 12 and 13 to 16 hours 30. Friday, 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at another address since you were registered. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. For more information, contact the GCOM on 2250-277-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
They stop don't go away when you know if food, you know, you got fair wash your place because I did my nails. When is somebody body gonna make a nice cake? Is my good cake on upon the same?
Madam, I got a call from the people in the community and they said you are disturbing the peace. You're smelling up the place and you're doing something, but your food always seems to smell good.
Peppies, you get the best on these things.
These things just make you cook good. I want these things and I'll carry them for evidence.
Well, love all of you.
Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
And you.
This Mother's Day, shower mom with love. Buy the Samsung A05 for just $19,500, the Samsung A15 for only $29,500, or the Samsung A25 5G for $43,000. That's not all. Each purchase comes with a complimentary 30-day mega data plan, ensuring mom stays connected. Hurry to a Digicel store near you today. Terms and conditions apply. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Good evening and welcome to Friday's edition of the Regional News. The Pan American Health Organization said it is seeking collaboration with neighboring countries to fight vaccine hesitancy for yellow fever and measles among populations in parts of the region this year. The organization's director made the announcement the same day U.S. researchers warned the country is at a critical juncture in measles return a quarter century after it was declared eliminated there due to several outbreaks. Health experts say 95% of the population must be inoculated to provide community protection for those unable to receive the vaccine, such as babies under 6 months old. PAHO has identified localized measles outbreak in 6 countries in the region, with 2,313 reported cases so far this year, a considerable increase from 215 cases for the same period last year. 3 deaths have been confirmed and 1 more under investigation. Since the start of 2025, the U.S. has registered a dozen outbreaks and at least 800 measles cases, including 624 infections and 2 deaths in Texas, according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Yellow fever cases have also risen this year on the continent, with 189 cases in 4 countries and 74 deaths, according to PAHO. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, TTPS, is investigating potential threats aimed at disrupting the April 20th general election. This was revealed by Acting Commissioner of Police Junior Benjamin during a media briefing at the Police Administration Building in Port of Spain. He confirmed that the authorities had received quote-unquote certain intelligence suggesting a possible disruption was being planned. Benjamin declined to disclose further details about the bombshell claim, stating, quote-unquote, the intelligence would lead us to believe that things are afoot to disrupt the electoral process. And we are saying to all persons, and this includes all parties as well, we want anyone seeking to disrupt the electoral process. We will take a zero-tolerance approach in dealing with that. Benjamin described the warnings as a quote-unquote riot act of sorts by the authorities, signaling that they are ready to deal with any situation that could arise. Claiming that Trinidad and Tobago is known for holding fair and violence-free elections, he expressed hope that this would continue with the upcoming election next week, focusing on law enforcement preparations with just days remaining before polling day. Benjamin noted that the necessary manpower resources had already been deployed in the lead-up. The Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, and the government of Haiti have announced the launch of a 5-year recovery and development plan process. At the request and under the leadership of Haiti, the IDB will coordinate this joint effort with the World Bank, the United Nations, and the European Union. The agreement of the Medium-Term Recovery and Development Plan for 2025 to 2030 was formalized in a joint statement signed by IDB President and Haiti's Minister of Economy and Finance on the sidelines of the IMF and World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. This partnership between Haiti and multilateral institutions builds upon the rapid crisis impact assessment led by the World Bank, which outlined the quantified urgent priority needs in the metropolitan region of Port-au-Prince. A key focus of the plan will be to identify and prioritize vital investments for regions outside Port-au-Prince, establishing a roadmap for medium-term development, and promoting alternative economic hubs to strengthen growth and drive sustainable development. Thank you for watching. I am Tiana Cole.
Police sergeant charged with murder of Linden youth remanded to jail until May 9, 2025. Former Auditor General Gulsaran raps government over excessive borrowing. Minister praises progress, but Indigenous advocate highlights harsh reality and calls Monk for the top cop to resign. Office of the President picketed. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.